All right, so it's week 4 in the college football season, and Auburn taking on Oklahoma. Big matchup. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Auburn Sports Fanatics with Vernon Speak Sports. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. A lot of things have taken place over the last few weeks as we start to shape up this college football season, and I think a big matchup. I mean, a really big matchup between Auburn and Oklahoma. Number one, we got to look at the transfers. Auburn brings on Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma. That's going to be a big storyline. I don't know if it's the biggest storyline of the game, but it's a big one. Former quarterback for Oklahoma didn't do so well there. They want to blame the offensive line. They want to blame the lack of wide receiver production there. And, Jackson Arnold's turnover tendencies there. Now he on boards at Auburn, and everything seems to be going well so far. Now, Auburn hasn't really asked Jackson Arnold to do much to put himself in harm's way, and I think he's going to have to put himself in harm's way in this particular game against Oklahoma, who, a team that he's played against and has a. I mean, I think Oklahoma is pretty stout on defense. At least they've shown that so far against Michigan, against Temple, and that's going to be a thing. Also, you look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I think, I think they're a little bit better than they were last year. A team that Auburn should have beat last year at home, I think. Had some opportunities, made some crucial mistakes down the stretch, and just wasn't able to pull that game off. 2:30 if you're Central Time, 3:30 if you're Eastern Time. I would be shocked if you're not watching this game. I think this is going to be a game to watch. I think you're going to look at the line of scrimmage on both sides. I think you're going to look at the secondary for Auburn, who has struggled for the past few weeks in a lot of different ways. They give up a lot of third down still. Among one of the, they're not the worst in the country, but they're among the worst among the teams that they play against. Oklahoma has been riding the coattail of John Mateer. John Mateer has been running the football. He's been passing the football. He's almost already at 1,000 yards passing already. And he's the leading rusher on the team as well. I'm not too sure if I'm Oklahoma that I want a guy that, can run the football. But I just don't think that's John Mateer's strong point. I want to see John Mateer as a drop back passer. I think that's his strong point. I don't know if he has, we will find out if Auburn's defensive line is as stout as we've seen. Now, we didn't see it as much against South Alabama. They did a lot of rotating and moving around in that game against South Alabama. So I don't know. This is one of those games you just don't know until you actually get in the game. Auburn will be welcoming back a lot of folks that just didn't play. Champ Anthony will be back. He got a cast on his arm, but I'm guaranteeing you he will play. Damari Alston will be back, a really good strong point of this running game. I don't think you want a game against Oklahoma without Damari Alston. Now, don't get me wrong, Jeremiah Cobb has done well in his absence, but I think you got to have that 1-2 punch at running back. Now, another storyline is this the Auburn offense that we thought we would see? Very vanilla, somewhat one-dimensional. Well, not one-dimensional, but just doesn't have the dimensions that we thought that they would have coming into this season, considering that they went out and, albeit with the NIL, I think they paid a little bit of money for Eric Singleton, and he has performed up to this point. But guess what? You got some other guys that has to perform as well. You got Cam Coleman, who scored his first touchdown last week, and You have Malcolm Simmons. I think Malcolm Simmons is probably the most dynamic receiver from a potential standpoint on this football team. He actually had a breakout game against Oklahoma last year. Beat him deep. I mean, beat him deep. And Bryce Kane showed some stuff. They also had some other receivers that kind of got some looks in the last game against South Alabama. Now let's go back real quick to South Alabama. South Alabama is a team that made a bowl game last year. South Alabama is a team that had a really good quarterback. They have a very good coach. They're not a team that, you know, you just kind of look past and say, okay, we, beat up on a medial opponent. I think South Alabama will do well down the stretch for their competition, but I think Auburn was a little bit too much. I mean, you still have situations where you got true freshmen in there and they still have the game manageable as they play in the game. Versus in times past, you got Auburn starters. I mean, the main guys in the game. We look at Jacksonville State from 2015. We look at other games where Auburn literally struggled, and the game was, kind of at risk. But there was no time in that football game as Auburn faced South Alabama that they felt that, the game was at risk. And I think the adversity might have been beneficial to the Tigers as they go into Norman this weekend. So when I look at a game like this, I've done a prediction on this game earlier this week in another podcast that I had the unique opportunity to do so. Um, I think there's going to be, this prediction is mainly based off of just what I don't know. I don't know how good Auburn secondary is yet. I have not seen the potentiality of Auburn's offense that I want to see, that I hope to see in this game, but I just haven't seen it yet. Vegas has Auburn a 6.5 underdog in this game, which from my prediction kind of halfway makes sense. I don't think it will be a cover on Oklahoma's part. This is based on what I see. I see a really good football game tomorrow. I see a very competitive game. This is the type of game that you come to the SEC to play for, whether you're Oklahoma or whether you're Auburn. You transfer to an SEC team if you're John Mateer or Jaden Ott, who I wasn't really sold on him to begin with. This is a game where if you're a transfer from Georgia Tech and Eric Singleton, or if you're a transfer from Oklahoma, a cross conference rival in Jackson Arnold, you come to play a game like this. Based on what I've seen, this is solely based on what I've seen, and I hope this is not the outcome. I got Oklahoma in this one, 28-24, in a very exciting game, in a game that Hugh Freeze has shown that he has recruited well enough to compete with some of the best in the SEC. But I think this game is a little too early for the chemistry of this team. Oklahoma will more than likely celebrate a win at home in the Palace against Auburn, 28-24. I love you guys, man. War Eagle to all the fans out there. I hope I'm not right. I really do. But as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War, damn Eagle.